Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott. There's Dave, and we are returning to the Universal Monster Universe with 1935's The Bride of Frankenstein. Boris Karloff returns, along with a few others. Okay, I'm going to get this out of the way.
All right.
Before I say anything else about this movie, before people give me shit for what I'm about to say, I love this movie.
Right.
I really freaking love this corny, cheesy ass movie. Okay. It's got issues and I love it. It's okay. Yeah. It's, I don't know what the hell they were thinking in some spots, dude. It was just weird. But there were times I was sad. I texted you, this is a sad movie, man.
Yeah.
I felt there are moments. They did a better job here making me have sympathy for the monster.
Yeah.
And I thought that was wonderful.
What I noticed last night is the monster does do a lot of killing in this movie.
Oh yeah.
And we call him a monster. Finger quotes.
Yeah. There's
only one person that he kills that deserved to get killed. And that was the murderer on top of the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I understand the two people initially that he kills because the place was just burned down and they were part of the mob trying to kill him.
Right.
I mean, I understand the anger there. But then, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I went too far. I jumped ahead. Keep going. My brain just said, oh, but this scene. Okay, so. Yeah.
I was just going to say, but most of the other killings, I mean, you could outrun, like the little girl, he kills the little kid, and it's like it's off camera, but it's like, why did he kill a little kid that's just walking around?
You know, they did it.
Doesn't like screaming? I don't know.
They didn't show it. They just you knew what everybody was. All the little girls were looking at. But it was. Here we go again. Here we go again. The monster. Oh my God! And it's. All of a sudden, dude, they had the pitchfork vendor out again.
Yeah,
they all just instantly, here were the pitchforks, and here goes. This is comedy, man. I'm watching this, and I was like, oh my God, do they know how cheesy this is right now?
The one lady that's herding the sheep or whatever that falls into the water, and he pulls her out. He's trying to help her.
He was trying to save her.
And that's when the entire mob is just suddenly there. I'm like, where the fudge did they come from?
They move fast.
Man, they must have been ready for him. Nobody even knew that he was out yet, but boy, they were ready for him. There's one scene, and I'm really hard pressed to wonder if the director. There's a movie out. It came out sometime in the 90s, I think, called Gods and Monsters. Mm-hmm. I have not seen it, but it is about the director of the Frankenstein movies.
James Whale.
Is my understanding. That's who the guy's supposed to be, the main character, as he's older. I've never seen the movie, don't know anything about it. Don't know if he is supposed to be gay or not in real life, if he was gay. But there is absolutely a scene in this movie that I think he put in just to mess with the censors of the day, just to see if he could get away with it. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure.
And the whole time I was watching it, I was wondering why Mel Brooks didn't pick up on it. Or maybe it was just too far for even Mel Brooks.
Okay, I'm anxious to hear what scene I missed here.
The scene with the blind guy, the blind man. He's all happy that he's there.
My God, that is so out of place.
Everything in that whole scene
so out of place,
it
man.
It worked fine had he just been kind of okay, like, oh, okay, I'm blind and you can't talk.
No, it's God has sent me a friend.
But he goes on and on about how God has sent we're going to be together. But there's a scene where he's telling the monster to lay down, and I swear to God, I never noticed this. I never looked for it. But if anybody was trying to F with the censors, it was at this point. Do you know where I'm talking about now?
I know the scene, but
he has the monster lay down, and then he puts his head down on the monster. Now, it is a back shot. You see
Yeah.
this guy's head go down. It is about crotch level with the monster, and
I
the
never
monster's
caught
got his
that.
hand either on his head or on his shoulder. And I just saw that, and maybe it's my age. Maybe they were a much more like, maybe nobody noticed it back then, but something tells me that a whole lot of guys in that audience and a whole lot of women in the audience of the day were like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me? They got away with
Oh,
that."
jeez.
Just saying. I think the
Oh,
guy did
God.
it against the censors. That's my
Oh,
personal belief.
it may have been. I didn't see it because I was so distracted by that. And yeah, there was a little bit of homoeroticism here with
Yeah,
the blind monk and the monster, that it was subtle. It was
yeah,
like, because I was thinking, yeah, I would be very happy to have a friend, but this guy was way too happy
yeah,
to have a friend.
yeah.
It was weird. And plus I'm thinking, okay, there's a monk out here. He's completely blind. He's got a fire going. He's got all this
Got
dangerous
food.
stuff around his cabin.
Hasn't talked to anybody in years.
Yeah, yeah.
You and I were I texted you last night. We were talking just a little bit, real quick, about. I love this movie. I want everybody to
Mhm.
know this is, to me, this is a step, in some ways, a step better than the Frankenstein movie.
I would agree.
That there are parts of it that are really good. Elsa Lancaster in the opening scene as Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley
Mm,
telling the story. That sets up the whole story. She's supposed to be telling the story during the stormy night that she
yeah.
supposedly came up with the
Yep.
Frankenstein mythos.
So that was a neat touch to put a little bit
That
of
was a very lovely touch.
fact, some history in there. So
But nobody remembers that. What do they remember of Elsa Lancaster in this movie? The less than 3 minutes screen time she has as the bride. She made that character her own, and she is an iconic character.
absolutely,
She is the Bride of Frankenstein.
yes.
3 minutes film top. I would love to time it just to see how long
It
she was really on
that's
film,
that's one
but
of the things I noticed last night was when it.
iconic,
Yeah,
absolutely iconic.
dude, dude, it's she. I felt bad because it's like, are you kidding me? This is all we get. But
Yes, I felt
when
cheated.
when she is revealed, I know she just screams and she's afraid not only
Yeah,
of the monster, but I mean this woman was just brought back to life.
yeah,
But
this is all new.
the look in her eyes, her face, every
Yeah,
movement, her and Karloff are brilliant with characters with no lines. And
yeah,
she only
yeah,
had 3 minutes, and she makes the wait worth it to this
yeah.
day to get to that scene.
That
Um,
reveal is absolutely
yeah.
perfect, and people have tried to rip that reveal off or kind of assimilate it to their own,
Mhm.
with revealing the eyes, and you see
Yeah.
the eyes there. Many different people have tried to pull it off. Ilsa Lancaster and this director pulled it off the best,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And for her to be
Absolutely.
like glitchy, like her nervous system is kind of
It was so well done.
kind of messed up, and she's still kind of working out the glitches. That and she goes directly to the doctor. She goes directly to Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Eh, Man, her
And
acting so iconic. And I tell you, folks, if you've only seen pictures of her and you've only known of the Bride of Frankenstein and never watched the movie, the wait, like you said, is well worth it. She's
it's a
there,
great
and
reveal. She makes the
everybody knows
movie.
who the Bride of Frankenstein is. Everybody knows what she looks like.
Mhm.
Everybody knows that, yeah, scream. It's dumbfounding.
Well, and one of the things about it is, go to the monster. He
Mhm.
is ugly. My
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
he is ugly. But there's something about the bride that is horrifying yet beautiful.
yeah.
And she brings that. And it's like, wow. It was just really freaking cool. I've been impressed by these two movies, just by these two actors. I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
yeah, they talk we talked about gravitas in movies before, and I think we
Mhm.
talked about it between ourselves, not on the show so much.
Yeah.
But there are female actresses that can pull off gravitas nowadays, and some many that can't, that they think are pulling it off. Ilsa Lancaster in this scene, in this just couple of minutes, has it. She's
Mhm.
even if the cameras weren't solely on her, when they weren't on her, and the whole field had people on it, the only person you're looking at is the Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
That's it. She's stolen the show from that point on. Why they didn't do more with her? Maybe that director was just like, "That's
I'm
perfect.
done.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
this is all the world needs, man. You'll never get any more of her. That's what we need." And you never. I don't think she's ever in any of the sequels. I think that
Yeah.
was it,
Damn. Damn.
as far as I know.
Yeah, that was something though. That was something that the one of my biggest problems, and I'm going to get to the issues I have with this film, is Dr. Petronius. I know we're in the
Yeah,
30s and
I'd have tossed his
science.
ass out the window.
Um, dude, I'm sorry. At this point, I almost thought that Henry Frankenstein, Victor, was having a dream.
Yeah,
Is what I thought, because it was too fantastical for what we were looking at. At least when with resurrecting a corpse, yeah,
right.
we're not doing that. Well, at least we don't think we are,
Not as far as we know.
as far as we know.
We
But in this movie, it at least seemed feasible. Large voltage of electricity and reanimation. Yeah, that works.
You're
But
using their science of the day too.
yes,
You know, the so
this guy
you use
was,
their made up science and say, okay, with their made up science, that could happen.
yeah, exactly.
Star Trek
But
science.
this other guy was a wizard, a sorcerer, if you will, who
Yeah,
grew living creatures, sentient beings, and kept them in jars. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
that's when I've watched this movie a few times and I actually forgot about that scene. As I'm watching this,
I
I'm
see
like, are
why.
those supposed to be like wind up toys? I didn't remember. And then the more he's talking, I'm like, he created little humans
Yeah.
and now he wants to make a big human out of dead body. It
Which
didn't
makes
make
no,
it.
it's like a regression.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, you're going backwards. I mean, Henry would have died to be able to do that. You know,
Victor.
Mister. But I'm trying to think how
Yeah.
I put this. That scene is terrible.
Yes, it
That scene with the
absolutely is.
doctor with the little humans in the jars is terrible for storytelling. For creative special effects for the day,
Dude,
it's
dude,
great. The
it was
mermaid in the
amazing.
jar,
Yeah.
everybody just, and then he picks the guy up with the tongs and carries him
That
back.
was the effects
That
to pull
is
that off.
amazing, and something tells me that that's why the director did it. That's the
Probably.
only
You
reason
know
he put
what?
that in there. He knew it was a terrible, it had nothing, no place, but he was like, "I'll never get another chance to do this."
It's
So
magic.
bang. Yeah.
It's magic. It's movie magic, and people would not have seen anything like it. We're so desensitized to stuff like that. We've seen that level,
Right.
1,000 million times over. And then, so I didn't think anything of it. But as somebody in 1935, my jaw would have been on the floor, and I probably would have went and got tickets for the next showing.
I'm still trying to figure out how they pulled it off with the technology of the day.
Yeah.
Because you had to film all that separately, and then you had to figure out how to splice it all together.
Yeah.
Then you had to figure out how to get the tongs on the guy's jacket to
It was
lift
pretty
up.
brilliant, man. Pretty brilliant.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this scene is terrible for the movie. This is one of those scenes that I actually forgot about, and then I fleshed it on my memory again until you just brought it up because
Yeah.
it
It's
has
gone
no
again.
place in this movie. But for the special effects, if you watch it for just the special effects of the day, it's astounding. It's great.
It is. It's astounding.
I'm surprised the guy didn't do a movie with little people in it, like later
Yeah.
on. That would have been. Could
And
you
then,
imagine had he done a movie with those people escaping?
see, there was a lot left
There
on the
was
table.
another
So I'm
movie there.
curious what happened with that, because that effects artist probably went on to do that same gag in some other movie. So we'll have to look that up to see who created that effect.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I should have looked, but
I didn't even think of that, because you're right. You know, all I can think of is how horrible this scene is, but that was a fantastic feat for
yeah.
them to pull off.
And that's what I
Pretty
was looking
impressive.
at the whole time I'm watching. I'm like, this is what the hell does this have to do with why is he even talking to Frankenstein? What?
I mean, this up
You can
until
sell
this
these
time,
people. I hate to
yeah,
say it, but you could have sold them.
yeah, yeah. I know. Up until this
What?
time in movies, though, the only things I remember is the Three Stooges would put themselves on the screen by splicing film
Yeah,
together and
yeah.
such, or filming it in such a way. Hold on, I have a cat attack. Uh, hello. And then stuff like seeing people go invisible
Yeah,
and things like that,
yeah,
and some of the effects we saw in like White Zombie. But
yeah,
this that was pretty wild, dude.
yeah.
That was
Like
pretty wild.
if you think about the 1935, right?
Yep, 1935.
They were just getting away, I think, from that at that point from the crank cameras that they were using in silent films. They
Yeah, I don't
couldn't
know.
use those. They had big motors on some
Yeah.
of those,
Oh
so
yeah, big, loud, noisy cameras.
they were using film that had to be developed. So everything had to be developed separate. Folks, just for this scene, again, has nothing to do with the movie, really. I mean, but the special effects are phenomenal for the time period. There was one scene that I this is the first time watching it that I caught was when they're getting ready to bring the bride to life, and they're talking about the parts of the bodies that they got and this and that.
Hmm.
And the one guy, the crazy doctor, Probetic, whatever the hell his name was, terrible character,
Momentic. Yeah.
be by Bobetic. Uh, he is close to the head, and it's a lot of good close shots. And again, the camera work in this movie and the crazy angle shots where that just adds the tension to the watcher. Like, oh, this is getting
Yeah.
weird again because
Yeah.
it goes from that to getting weird again, and I like
Yeah.
it.
They definitely brought the angles back in, the
But
extreme angles of camera.
he's like holding her head, and he says, and I never caught this until last night. He's like, and a fully grown artificial human brain for the first time.
Yes.
And that's when I was like, this is a data. There he grew a brain and he had to fill it, but they didn't have anything to fill it with yet.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that, that's like that'd be like a baby coming out. She's got nothing there. She's scared.
Well, think about that. When I was watching this, it really showed me that we've been telling this story for a long time. Right now, it's with AI taking over the world and making us their slaves and things like
Yeah.
that. But these are stories of Mary Shelley nailed it with man playing God. You got Jurassic Park, Blade
We saw it coming
Runner,
years ago.
Aliens. It's all of this. This is such a recurring theme. Terminator. So it's really neat. When I think of these movies, the artificial intelligence and the rise of the machines and stuff, is I never think back to Frankenstein, but now I will.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
Because
sense.
this is the origin of that thought, probably, or at least in our modern literature.
Yeah, because I mean, other than the legends of zombies and things like that, I mean, there's always like ghouls and the
Mhm.
golems, the
Yeah,
Jewish legends of the golems. Um, but yeah, this is the first one where Mary Shelley in the book, Frankenstein actually speaks. He knows how to talk. He can read. He
yeah.
can write. I think he speaks several languages. He basically teaches himself to speak several different languages.
Wow.
I mean, he's not a dumb guy especially by the end of the book.
Hmm.
But this these movies are nothing like the book. So, folks, if you're going in,
Yeah.
this is definitely 1930s. We've got the movie rights to something that we're going to totally ignore the movie
And
rights
guess
to.
what?
Kind of like
Hollywood
what
has
they're
not
doing now in
changed.
comics in Hollywood. Uh,
Yep.
Screw what came before. We're going to do it better. Um, but I understand why they didn't do it like the book
Mhm.
of the time, because that would have been really hard. That would have been really hard to pull off, I think. Um, I think he could have. think you could have pulled it off,
Yeah.
but it would have been a long movie. I mean,
Yeah.
this one was almost 2 hours, right? How long was
It
this
didn't
movie?
feel like it. It went pretty quick.
Mm,
I think the first movie they adapted that screenplay from a play, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken,
yeah.
and
Just
so
like
that had
Dracula, they did the same thing
yeah.
with Dracula.
Yeah, so because what they got then was somebody had already taken that source material and
Mhm.
shrank it down into a viewable time. It's like, oh,
Right,
we'll adapt the adaptation. It's like, oh,
right,
you guys
right.
really should sometimes go back, but
Maybe could any of you guys read the book?
yeah, no, give me the cliff notes, and
Yeah,
that's
ask
that's
him
that's
for a
still
friend.
going on, man.
Yeah, but that yeah, and it happens a lot. That's just Hollywood.
Yeah,
Just don't do it to
yeah,
something that I really love because
they
I'll
will give them
tell you
time.
names. Kathleen Kennedy,
Yeah,
Dave
who?
Filoni. You guys
Yeah,
are
who?
terrible. I'm sorry, the 2 of you are just terrible at your job.
Here
So,
goes. There goes the Star Wars references for the
sorry, that's it came
day.
out. It came I was trying not to. It came out though. Feeling sick, so heck with it. It's my
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
um, but this movie and let me just go through real quick,
Mhm.
this is what I do, I go through the names. Boris Karloff, of course, is the monster. Elsa Lancaster is Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, and she is the bride. And she's I grew up watching her as the elderly woman, little chubby, or at least
Mhm.
maybe she was just padded during at that time. I don't know. But she always came across as the cute little aunt. They're going, ha ha, and she bopped around. And I remember seeing her like that for many years. It took me, I don't know how many years before I realized that she was the cute little aunt that I always saw running around. The
Oh
little
my god.
adorable little
Yeah.
elf-like aunt that came in and saved the day or caused mischief and oops, I didn't mean to do that. And it was her. And I saw her in this movie and I was like, "Oh my god, she was beautiful." And then they plain Janed her down, I guess, frumped her up as an elderly woman, and she wasn't even that old back then,
Right.
like in the movies that I remember watching her in, so she must have just frumped up and was like, "Yeah, fuck this. So I'm gonna make my money, baby."
Well, yeah.
But did a really good job. Colin Clive was Henry Frankenstein.
Victor.
Victor. Valerie Hobson was Elizabeth. I think she was the same girl who played Elizabeth in the last movie, or no? I don't remember.
I don't recall because we really didn't see Elizabeth a lot in the first movie. I didn't
And
think, but maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Ernest Thesiger was the guy who played Dr. Praetorius. I'm almost positive, and Kat pointed this out. This wasn't me, because she always can pick out people from a mile away. That this is the Undertaker in one of the Christmas carols that we watched.
You might be
I
right.
think he's one of the Undertaker because his facial
He
expressions.
did look familiar.
Yeah, Gavin Gordon was Lord Byron, and Douglas Walton was Percy Blishy Shelley. And that's where I'm going to stop at. There's other name. Oh wait,
Yeah.
one more name, and I don't know why they had this character in here. I don't know why. Una O'Connor was Minnie. Was Minnie the lady that was?
No, how could you forget who
You know
Minnie
who I'm talking
was?
about? Like she.
I do. It's
Oh,
she's
he
one of my
was
complaints about the
my
movie.
boyfriend.
However, okay, so I absolutely couldn't stand that at the beginning, but I felt that Whale was trying to add some comedy in here.
Yeah, yeah, he tried
And
hard, and some
he
of it
tried,
actually
and
worked.
that's some worked, but the rest he tried really hard, and that's the
Yeah,
problem. And she was one of the things that sometimes it worked, sometimes it really was grating, and it's like, oh my
yeah,
god. But it
yeah,
is cool because she's another one that I think was made to look older than she probably actually
yeah.
was as
I
well.
think so. I think
Yeah.
so. But without that character, you wouldn't have Cloris Leachman's character in the Son of Frankenstein, or
Ah,
not Son of Frankenstein, Young Frankenstein.
right. But one thing about this character, true. One thing about this character is she can run fast. They had already left on horse and carriage, and she was 1 second behind him, but they had a 10-minute start.
Yeah,
She's faster than a cheetah.
I could have ran that fast too with that monster chasing me.
Uphill.
Would you she's
So
my dog is now chewing on the side of the wall. She's just
because
chewing on the
that's
wall.
it's a wall.
She
It's
looks at me, and she goes and starts chewing on the wall again.
because
Then
of
she looks
course.
back up at me and starts chewing. Would you stop? Sorry, folks. She's in that chewing stage.
Do they ever leave it?
God, I hope so. The funny thing is Daisy and Lily and I didn't have really Gracie for that long, but I gave them bones and they figured it out real quick. This one chews on all the bones and then goes chews on my shoes, chews on the couch, chews on. It's like, no, no, no. I'm giving you these to chew on.
No,
Sorry. Back
no,
to the movie, folks.
not as good as
Um,
that other stuff. Yes.
I want to find the
So
name
I
for that.
definitely give this a 3 dog chew toy. Thumbs
Chew
up.
through it.
Uh,
There was one good line. There was one funny line in that movie when, real quick before we take off, the two murderers that have become grave robbers and they're working for Pretorius, and he's threatening them to, I'll turn you over to have be hung or something. And they're just stealing body parts and doing shit. And the one guy looks at the other guy and goes, man, I would rather trade myself in than do this because he's like, this feels dirty.
yeah, I
I would
know.
rather just turn myself in and be hung and
Yeah,
as an honest murderer than to do this. And I
yeah. So
just started laughing. I'm like, I wonder how many people in prison feel that way. Like, that's sick.
yeah,
That's stealing
yeah.
bodies. It's sick.
It is sick. It is sick, and and that's one of the issues I have with the movie, but I don't fault it too much for it because this was the payoff at the end. The
Yeah,
last 3 minutes of this movie, it made up for any
absolutely.
transgressions that happened before. Because I texted you, I said I'm not sure yet. I was waiting to get to the end of the movie to see if it was
Yeah,
come around, and it did. I
it
had
all
never
paid
seen
off.
this. Had never seen this movie. And yeah,
You
I'll watch it
never
again
saw this at all?
at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this was a first. It was cool.
See,
It was
I
cool.
wonder because I know I've watched my disc that I have. I'm just wondering if, as a kid growing up, they edited out certain parts of this, like the little kids
Oh,
in the jar just for time
probably.
on
There's
the
probably
shows that I
stuff that
watched.
was
And
missed.
I don't ever remember growing up watching those. I don't ever remember them as a kid.
Yeah.
And watching it last night, I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that," but I didn't put two and two together until
Right.
just now. So I wonder if they were edited at one
Oh,
point
probably for yeah. A lot of times
in
stuff
time.
ends up on TV and it's half of it's missing. But yeah, because got to get them commercials anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
As a first time watcher of this, and I'm really enjoying our trip through the Universal catalog.
Yes.
Yes, it's about time we
Very
did
proud of you.
this. Hey, I want to go through them all.
Right?
So we'll see. We've already done the Mummy and we've done Dracula, so there's some
Exactly.
more from us to pull from. So we will definitely get through those. But yes, Bride of Frankenstein is definitely worth the watch, especially for the reveal at the end. It
Oh,
is a hell of a moment. Again, great special effects,
oh
uh,
yeah. Yeah.
impressive miniatures. Karloff and her name, the bride,
Elsa Lancaster.
Ilsa Lancaster,
Oh,
phenomenal actors with what they do with not much, with just facial expressions and bring such a sense of, I don't know, man. She
I
brought it. That's all I'm
I
saying.
can't like right now, I mean, I've just kept my nose out of actors and actresses' names now because I think most of them are no talent hacks. There
Tell
are,
us how
and
you really feel, Dave.
I'm talking about most American actors and actresses. There are good ones. There are a lot of good ones out there, but I think for the most part, they're just
Yeah.
eh, you know, and then that's fine. Everybody needs to do something. But I'm just trying to think like if you had to make this movie today, I can't think of two people that could take those places and do as good a job. Nobody jumps to mind that I can think of.
Um,
I'm sure they're there, but I'm
if he
talking
was
about like a younger
if he
generation.
if he was bigger, Doug Jones, that man can do any creature. Period. Um,
Doug Jones, is that the guy who did the fish out of water or
yes, that's Doug
that's
Jones. He
not the right
also
title. I know. I'm sorry.
yeah, the Shape of the Water.
Shape of Water. Okay,
Yeah, he's
well,
phenomenal in that. And
Karloff wasn't that big. I
that's
mean,
true.
he
That's
was
true.
tall, but he had those big platform boots.
That's true. But
So,
poor,
yeah,
I mean, Doug is so skinny, but yeah, he is absolutely phenomenal. He's great in Star Trek Discovery in full alien makeup. He plays non-humans so well,
really well.
so well. But he's the only one that comes to mind. But as far as the Bride, I don't know. It's just going to be somebody, I don't.
Gotta
That's
get
a
somebody
great
off
question.
stage, I think you have to get somebody off stage that's used to throwing their expressions so people can see them in the back row.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Hilton Lancaster as an actress brought was, I can do this up close and you'll really see it, but I'm gonna do it like you can't see it in the back row. So I have
But you're
to
still
really
going to feel it. Yep.
Yeah, so you're gonna feel it. And she did
That's a
both
great point.
those close-ups. Yeah, I mean, that was a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And even when she was playing Mary Shelley, she's doing a lot with her face.
Oh, she's great.
Doing a lot with she does like this little head turn at one point that I'm just like, oh, that's
she
told
was
her to do
very
that?
believable. Yeah. She believed she was Mary Shelley, and that was wonderful. So you didn't see her act, and that's what's wonderful when that happens.
No, you didn't. You didn't even see Karloff act in this. I mean, although he's like, oh, at first.
No, I always believed he was a monster and not a man in makeup.
Right.
I know they wouldn't have done this movie this way, but part of me was thinking, man, it would be great, because when I saw him in the crypt and he was looking over the dead woman in the coffin.
Yeah.
And I thought, and this is kind of where he gets the idea, but I was expecting him to scoop that body up and take it back to Frankenstein to beg or ask for a friend.
Yeah.
And that would have been heartbreaking. So I don't know.
See, that would be a good rewrite. Yeah. That would be a nice rewrite. And you could still do everything else the exact same, because the monster.
I would not do the doctor wizard fool.
No. You don't.
He's gone.
Get rid of him completely. or you can have him show up and be threatening the Frankenstein, not show the little midget thing or the little. They weren't even midgets; they were just miniature humans.
Yeah, that he grew out of seaweed.
If he shows up, you have the monster kill the guy.
Oh, that'd be perfect. Yeah,
like I need this guy. Don't sidetrack him, kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, that'd be a good scene, and then to play it out just the way it played out.
Yeah, because they could have. That to me is the scene with the monk. If it would have been somebody besides that monk, that's all I'm saying. That is an awkward scene.
Guy, like an old blind guy in the woods, that's fine.
It would have been a different. Yeah, it was just the way that scene was written was very creepy.
Yeah, like I said, you go back.
It was like, what is going on here?
You'll be like, oh, I see it now. And as soon as you see it, you're not going to be able to unsee it, folks. I'm sorry.
Nope,
it's just
nope.
I'm not trying to bring anybody down. It's just I saw that and I was like, I just wondered.
It was unexpected.
It was gay. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not. That's not judgmental, but that I just want to know if he was doing it to see what he could get away with.
I'm curious. Yeah. Now that you say that, I'll never unsee that.
Yeah. He's got a book. I think, not sure if it's an autobiography or not, but I know that there's a book about him out. So I'd like to see why he did that scene that way, if it's in there. But I thoroughly love this movie. I say watch it. There are a few little contrivances and boy, that's convenient kind of things. With the villagers and stuff. But it's well acted. It's well played. It could have been edited probably a little bit, but from what I understand, the director didn't really want to do another movie. But back in the old days, he lived and died by Universal. That was that was his bread and butter. You went and did what they told you to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that what they told him to go make another monster movie, and he did. So that's good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is a definite must watch. So far, all the Universal movies, monster movies I have seen, are definite must watches.
Yeah.
So we're going some direction next week. We will see. surprises abound as
Maybe
we
not.
travel, or maybe not. Maybe no surprises. Who knows what we're going to have as we go through Halloween month and beyond. We'll probably bleed a little into Christmas, and we're going to roll in from the horror to the Christmas movies as we do every year.
We'll start Christmas early.
Yeah, we probably will. So thanks for watching, listening. Where you can find us is on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and wherever you listen to podcasts. So thanks again, folks, and we will catch you next week.
Thank you very much.